So here we are today with the physique and a guy that impressed me really the most, to be honest, at his Alicante show. And he placed, I think, a little bit, his placing was a little bit too low. I think that he should be placed higher, but it's up to judges as always. So please, could you shortly introduce yourself to our followers, Marc Hector?
Yeah, so I'm Marc Hector, IFBB Pro. I turned pro in 2018 at the Amateur Olympia UK. So I won the super heavyweights class, and then I went on to win the overall bodybuilding class. So I came first in my class, and I won overall coming first as well.
So that was your pro debut, yeah?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
This was your pro debut, right?
Yes, that's right. So Alicante, Spain was my pro debut.
So when going to Alicante, what feelings did you have? How did you feel about your debut? Were you stressed?
No, I was really calm. I was really chilled. Working with my coach Abdullah from O2 Gym, I believe I did everything I can to go and display my physique in the best way possible. So I was really relaxed. I was really calm, and most of all, I was really looking forward to the experience of competing on a pro league stage.
And what made you start the bodybuilding itself? Have you trained any other sport before?
So I started my background before was sprinting. So I was a sprinter. I used to do 100 meters and 200 meters. I got to a fairly good level with that. And then around the age of 15, I started doing some weight training to support my sprinting training. I soon realized that being in the gym was something I enjoyed. Although I was still quite young, I just wanted to get in there and lift weights.
And how much did it took you? How long did it took you to become a pro?
So I first started competing in 2012 and I turned pro in 2018. But within those years of competing, so 2012 to 2014, I actually had a 2 year break. So after I first competed for 2 years, 2014 to 16, I had a 2 year break. And from 2016 to 2018, again, I had a 2 year break. So within those 2 years breaks, I was looking at what I needed to improve my physique to be able to go from an amateur to a pro. So I competed at a good level in the UK. I won my first two shows in the UK. So 2012 was a beginner's class, and then I went and won a UK national show. The UK national show, I then went and competed abroad at the European Championships and World Championships in my first year. When I competed at the World Championships, I came dead last. So there must have been about 23 people in the class, and I was completely last. But I completely enjoyed the experience. I needed that experience to be able to gauge myself and see what I needed to improve on. So after my first year of competing in 2013, that's when I had a 2 year break. And I came back to compete in 2015. And I moved from a light heavyweight to a heavyweight competitor. In 2015, I won my class and I had invites to the Arnold Classic at the time in Madrid, the British Finals, and the Diamond Cup. I went and competed abroad at the Arnold Classics, and I believe I competed up to 95 kg, and I came about eighth in that class. I realised again the level was really high international, and I needed to take time to improve myself, because what you find is you see these international competitors and the level of conditioning, the way they pose, it was all a learning experience for me. So after I competed in Arnold's Classics, I then went and did the British Finals, and I came sixth in the heavyweights class, which was my first time competing at a British finals. In hindsight, I really wanted to win because I thought I was ready to be a pro, but it's the best thing that ever happened to me coming sixth, because I then took that time away. I took 2 years off. I looked at the people who placed higher than me, and I looked at where I came international at the Arnold Classics, and I used that as a guide of where I need to improve. So I knew I needed to bring my legs up. I knew I needed to be in better condition, and I knew I needed more overall size. So in 2018, when I did come back to compete, I competed at 3 different shows, and I won each of my class, and I won the overall of the 3 shows. And the last show was the most important, which was the Amateur Olympia UK.
You do post quite often pictures with your girlfriend, does she?
Yes, she does compete. So she competes in the bikini class. She's also IFBB pro.
And how is it to be at one prep together?
It was actually really good. So we bounced off each other. Sometimes in prep you have days where it's harder. So if I'm feeling like a bit more tired or my energy's lower, she was helping to support me. It might be okay. She's helping me, give me that extra motivation in the gym, or helping, okay, right, you sit down, you relax, I'm going to go and sort out the food prep. And it sort of went both ways. So one day she might be high and I'm low, and then the opposite day it might be the other way around. But all in all, it was a really good prep, and it was made a lot smoother having her by my side, because she understands the sport, and we both had the same goal of competing at our pro debuts at Alicante, Spain.
When you travel to the Oxygen, do you take her with her? But I don't think so, yeah?
So I first went out to Oxygen Gym in February of this year, and the plan was to do a long off season and then compete. We was looking at the British Grand Prix, which would have been May. We was looking at the New York Pro, which would have been a few weeks after. But then COVID hit, so in the end, I was only out at Oxygen Gym for 6 weeks. So I wasn't out there for a long time at all. But in those 6 weeks, I made huge improvements. My body really transformed. I grew muscle that I didn't realize I could grow. And it really opened my eyes to where I thought I was training hard. Abdullah helped me take it to another level. He looked at my physique and said, all right, these are the exercises we need to do to bring my physique up.
Are you a fan? Are you like any exercises that you would have to do, or when you realize that some exercise, for example, like let's say barbell squats, they don't fit you, you just drop them, or do you keep doing them because it's said that you have?
So do I still do them now, do you mean?
I mean, if you find an exercise, you know, that just you realize that it doesn't fit you, but it is said in the, you know, the public opinion that you have to do it, do you keep doing it, or you just drop it and don't care?
No, so Abdullah's really good. So he's able to look at my physique and say, all right, okay, so we need to work on bringing up, let's say, for example, we need to work on bringing up your adductors. So it doesn't make sense for you to do a traditional barbell squat. We need to do a sumo style squat, because then that's going to hit your adductors. So it's looking at attention to detail. So he's not going to make me do an exercise just for the sake of doing it. We're doing an exercise with the intention, this is going to help you to grow.
And what do you weight in this competition?
So I weighed in about 245 pounds for this competition.
It's like 109 kilos, something like this.
Probably around the 111 sort of kilos. And when I won my pro card, I was weighing 227 pounds, which is 103 kg. And that was 2 years ago.
So that's a huge improvement.
Yes. And I only started working with Abdullah in January of this year. So I've only been working with him for 9 months.
And what do you think that you have to still bring up? Because in my opinion, of course, it's lower body, but it doesn't really seem to be this much of a disproportion. I just think that you need an overall size, because you have insane proportions. When you have so wide clavicles that when you stand on the stage, people next to you just seem to be smaller than they are in real.
Yeah. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate that comment. I did speak to the head judge after the show who came up to me and spoke with me, and he said an area to work on is bringing up my legs. So that's an area I'm going to focus on. But he also said I've got such a lovely shape, and he said everything's there for me to have a bright future. So although I want to improve my legs, I don't just look at one body part and think, right, it's just the legs. I want to work on the overall shape, but keeping my V taper and keeping a small waist.
Yeah, that was exactly what was supposed to be my next question. What are are there some techniques that you use to keep your midsection tight, or you just have it genetically and whatever you do, it just stays this way?
It generally just stays that way. So genetically, my dad, he's got the wide shoulders, he's got the big arms, he's got the really small waist. So I'm quite lucky in a sense that it's very much genetically based. But I'm also very cautious when it comes to when I'm exercising. So I'm not trying to make. Some people say there's certain exercise will make your waist thicker, which may be true, but I don't lift a weight what I can't handle. So I'm not going to go and move heavier weights for the sake of it. I'm using a weight what I can perform good form with, so I can grow effectively.
So you are more focusing not only on the pushing the weight from A to Z, but of course you want to use the proper technique to engage the muscle that you want to.
Yes, definitely. You'll never see me training heavy with poor form because that can lead to injuries. And I also want to know that if I'm training, I want to feel that muscle contracted.
But have you tried before to train like, you know, really heavy in kind of powerlifting way?
So my training's varied over the years. So when I first started training, it's similar to how it is with how I train at Oxygen Gym. So Oxygen Gym is very much high reps with drop sets, which is the way when I first started training at 15, that's what I was introduced to doing. As the years went on, I opted for more of an 8 to 12 reps, training a bit heavier with some German volume style training. But now I've steered back towards the higher volume training, and my body's responding.
So you're more of a volume guy
Yeah,
than intensity.
yes, that's right. But with the volume, I'm still trying to lift as much weight as possible.
Yeah, with perfect form, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How were you disappointed at all by the placing? Because I thought that you might really been higher. I had you sixth because of the Munzi's midsection lack of control. Because he was, of course, bigger, but
Yeah.
he wasn't in my eyes better on the stage because the midsection, especially when he was doing the quarter turns, he didn't seem so confident on the stage.
So to be honest, I always enter a competition with the intention that I want to win,
Yeah,
and that's never anything that I would change my mind. But in hindsight, looking back, the guys who beat me, they had more size on me. I wouldn't think it made a difference in terms of they're competing more times on an IFBB Pro stage because I felt confident on stage. I didn't feel like I was out of my depth, but with everything, it comes with experience, and it's something what I can take on board. So placing seventh for me is, I think, a fantastic achievement because next to Olympia, this is probably going to be the biggest show this year. And to be able to place not only in the top 10, but come seventh against, if you look at the top 5 guys there, they are really good high standard athletes. So it's something I've got to be proud of. If anything, it's more motivation because I want to get into those top 5s, the top 3s and first. So it's just motivation for me to keep pushing and bringing my best.
Is there any physique that you look up to? Like, is it perfect for you? Do you take do you have an idol?
So there's a few people who I look at within the current bodybuilding crop of athletes. And I look at Brandon Curry, who's also coached by Abdullah. And I think to myself, okay, right, he's got a beautiful physique. He's got that V taper. And that's the sort of physique where I'm trying to almost emulate. try and work towards. And I also look at Sean Roden as well, with his V-taper. And these are both Mr. Olympia athletes, Mr. Olympia champions. And I see myself as, if there's a physique where I can work towards and look like, it'd be a combination of Brandon Curry and also Sean Roden, which is very good physiques.
Yeah. How better can you get than a Mr. Olympia?
Exactly. But for me, it's always about the V-taper and being realistic with what my genetic structure is and where I think I can go. So I know there's definitely room to fill out my frame, and in filling out my frame, it will be alongside the sort of physiques of Brandon Curry or definitely Sean Roden, I believe.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 33.
So still young.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah, the best is still to come. Do you see yourself as the future Mr. Olympia, or don't you have this much of an expectation yet?
No, I do. Yeah, that's definitely my goal. That's definitely my goal. And if I was to sit here and say it's not, then that would be a lie. But definitely being Mr. Olympia is my goal. And also, I would like to win some Arnold Classics as well. So I've got high goals, and I'm willing to keep working hard to make those a reality.
Are you going to compete this year, or are you on other season? Are you doing the British or Romania show?
Yeah. So initially, after the Alicante show, I spoke with my coach, and I was fairly happy with where I placed, and I was thinking about maybe shutting it down for the year, and taking a long off season, going out to Kuwait around January after the Olympia, and working towards qualifying for next year's Olympia. A few days after, I spoke with Abdullah and I said, look, there's still a fire. There's still a fire inside of me. I'm in condition. I'm feeling fresh. There's no way I can shut it down for this year. So my next planned show is the British Grand Prix. All being well, I would really like to qualify this year for, qualify from a show this year for next year's Olympia. And if that doesn't happen at the British Grand Prix, then I'll go again. So Romania is the show after that.
What mostly differs Oxygen Gym from the others, and what made you progress the most besides working with Abdullah? Is it the strict focus at only the goal, which is bodybuilding, or is it something else? Are there any differences in diet? Because we already spoke about the training. He showed you other exercises, how to engage your muscle and so on. But is it any different in the diet and so on, or is it just the way they speak to you, they show you, they make you feel like a champion before you are one?
That there's a combination of things. So you touched on quite a few things, but the first thing I'll go with food. When it comes to off-season eating food, I'm not a big eater at all. But one of the things Abdullah said to me is, you need to eat. He said, you're not eating enough food. So I had to get comfortable eating more in the off-season to really grow. And that was tough because sometimes I'm sitting there at a table for 40 minutes, an hour, trying to finish a meal. But I've got to think about, look, if this is the level I want to be at, I'm going to have to do something I've not done before. So I started to eat a lot more food in terms of like the mentality and the mindset. Abdullah is very driven. He's very good at getting the best out of me. So he believes in me so much that it started to rub off of me. And I started to think, you know what? The confidence you're giving to me, I'm going to use that as fuel. So when I was in the UK, before I went out to Kuwait, I had a 9-to-5 job. So I'll go to work 9 to 5, then I'll go to the gym around 6 o'clock, train for about an hour and a half, and then I'll probably do some PT sessions with a client as well after for another hour. And that was pretty much my day. I do have a family as well. I've got some children as well. So I wasn't able to fully focus on the goal of bodybuilding. So in January, I made the biggest decision of actually leaving my job because I couldn't keep my job. And I just took the step and I thought, if I'm going to make it, I'm going to have to make a sacrifice. So I went out to Kuwait, working with Abdullah, and he often reminded me during the training session. So I remember there's one set in particular. It's on my Instagram. I had a blue jersey on, and we was doing a hack squat, a video. And Abdullah said to me just before the set, remember why you're here. You left your family for this. This is your future. And he spoke to me before the set. And before I even done that set, I had it in my mind that there's a bigger goal here. It's not just I'm here to say I'm out in Oxygen Gym. It's to make the best out of my possible career in bodybuilding. And Abdullah he's instilled a lot of confidence in me, and it's definitely helping me. We speak daily, often 4 or 5 times a day, and I honestly can't ask for a better coach.
And of course, we can't leave one subject behind us. How does it feel to be an HD athlete?
HD athlete, it's really good. It's really good. So it's nice because the owners understand bodybuilding. They're very in tune as well. So for example, I speak with Dorian. That's the set I was talking about. I speak with Dorian, and it's great because the feedback they gave me following the show as well. I can see as a brand and as a sponsor that they're invested in me, and they see the potential as well. So it's nice to be part of a team where everyone pulls together, and everyone's driven towards the same goal of being the best, but also the products and what they stand for, integrity is everything, is really all about what I stand for as well. So it works very well.
I love those last reps. Sorry, I was so focused on those reps that I've heard everything that you said about being an HD athlete. And didn't you want to work with Dorian?
Well, Abdullah, so how it first happened, when I turned pro in 2018, there was at the Amateur Olympia UK, there was a team from Oxygen Gym who was actually at that show as well. So after I turned pro, a few days after, Abdullah contacted me on Instagram, and we had a conversation back then about the opportunity of working with him and going out to Oxygen Gym. But the timing wasn't quite right for me. I wasn't in a position where I thought that I could have left my job, and I still got young children as well. So it wasn't quite right, but the door was open from 2018, and we still had regular conversations via WhatsApp, on Instagram as well. And when it came again around, I think it was November 2019, we started speaking again. I put a post up and he commented on it, he put the future and a medal with a #1. And I was like, I'm going to message him. I'm just going to message him. I'm going to speak to him and see if there's an opportunity to still go. And he basically said, brother, I'm ready if you're ready. And for me, that was enough that I was going to make a decision that if I'm going to do this and make something of my career, I've got to be working with him. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity and being able to not only represent myself, but also represent Abdullah, Badr and Oxygen Gym.
One last question, because I know that you're a busy person and that you have to go to your family and to your obligations. Do you coach people online?
Yes, I'm an online coach. So I coach competitors and also lifestyle clients as well. I do have a background in sports science. I've got a degree in sports science, and I've got various different sporting qualifications. So my knowledge is there. I do keep my client base very small because I want to make sure, just like how I have the relationship with Abdullah, that my clients can interact with me and everything is personalized to them to get the best results for themselves.
Yeah, so if anyone is interested in joining the Marc Hector team, then try in private message. I'm going to leave the link before in the description so anyone can see your Instagram. Anyway, everyone saw the video and so on. So there is just Marc.Hector. And thank you for your time. And I wish you really, really good luck. I can't wait to see you on the British stage.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on this episode. It really means a lot.
Yeah. Speak to you soon, buddy.
Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.
Have a good one.